Kids need to understand money and finances. To be able to make smart choices as they grow up, this information needs to be taught both in schools and at home. The Ministry of Education mandated that financial literacy be taught in schools and incorporated into the curriculum for grades 4 through 12. Today, I'm speaking with an experienced teacher about how that might look, along with a money relationship coach to learn more about what we can do at home. Welcome to Beyond the Classroom. I'm your host, Cathy Thompson. I am here today with Suzan Grace. Suzan is the owner of Beyond the Classroom Guelph. She is the curriculum consultant for Beyond the Classroom's customized curriculum consultation service. Suzan has taught and tutored kids for over 20 years. Her main focus has always been to help kids who are struggling to succeed in every way possible. As such, she often delves into the curriculum to make sure students are covering what they need. She's here today to talk about Ontario's new math curriculum, specifically the addition of financial literacy. Thanks for being here, Sue.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
No problem. There has been some talk over the last couple of years. I have kept seeing it come up in media and different things like that about the mandate for this financial literacy being put into the curriculum. And even I experienced it last year. My son was in grade 10 and they really did in one of the courses set a budget, did all this stuff, which was really relevant and eye-opening for him, based on what he could get for his salary.
Yes.
But I know the mandate was grades 4 to 12, I believe, for this financial literacy.
Mm-hmm.
And so can you tell us a little bit more about how that might be sprinkled into the curriculum and what kids might be doing?
Sure. Okay. So the goal ultimately is to give us confident, informed decision makers. So what they're doing is they're in grades 1 to 3, they're kind of just making kids focus on understanding currency. Knowing that a toonie's a toonie, and if I add 45 plus $62, I'm going to get such and such a result. And then come grade 4 to 6, they actually start teaching kids a little bit about budgeting. And they'll start getting into having them calculate things like sales tax, taking a look at how the government taxes individuals and how that impacts people. So they're taking it to a higher level as far as calculations go, but they're also taking it to that, making them informed consumers by teaching them how to budget, how to look at making purchases for themselves. And then once you hit grade 6 to 8, it kind of goes global. So the kids in grade 6 to 8 are looking at how economies are affected around the world and how what they do impacts their decisions regarding money impacts what happens. So it can be looking at things like exchange rates and what else did I have? And they take the budgeting and they go to financial planning.
Okay.
So they're going to go from a simple budget now looking at long-term planning, compound interest, mortgage rates, and that sort of thing. So really teaching the kids to be adults and making adult decisions around money.
Wow. And so that's up to the grade 8 level, what you've described?
Up to grade 8. And then I think what your son had last year was probably the careers course.
It could be, yeah.
Because a lot of that course is now focused on teaching kids, which they'll have the foundation for now, but really sort of, this is how you need to live when you're done high school and on your own. You need to make informed decisions.
Wow, it's so much information before grade 8, even like that global finance perspective and the exchange rate and thinking about that as a 12 or 13-year-old. That's so interesting.
It is, but it's a global world now. Like the world moves so much faster now that we have access to everything going on all the time. And the kids are on the media.
Yeah. That's true. And even, ordering things online from different countries and calculating the sales tax and, being aware of the different currencies. That could be a teaching piece too. And so when you were investigating all of this for us in terms of financial literacy, what kids are learning, did you identify any gaps that you thought, this could really be injected into the curriculum at this point?
Actually, I was happy to look, like, 'cause I mean, obviously it's taught as units in math, but
Mhm.
it can really enter into every subject area in the curriculum.
Mm.
So if you're doing language arts, you're going to have money involved in stories or current events. You can take a look at how the US election for older kids, how is the US election going to affect
Mm.
things here in Canada and our economy? Um, you can look at history and how trading has evolved over the centuries. Science, you can do experiments. How can we reduce cost on, say, electricity to help us budget better? So you really can take every single aspect of the curriculum and link it to financial literacy.
That's cool. I
Yeah.
like that. That's important, you know? Really, as a parent and just person in society, I don't really think about that too much, how literate I am financially. But I think in terms of raising these children and creating that awareness that it is an important learning step, it's not going to happen on its own that you magically are able to budget or manage your money or calculate tax or exchange. I think those are really, really important pieces. And I'm hoping that that curriculum continues to be more developed and more weaved throughout the years for the kids. And so, as a curriculum consultant, can you share with us how parents at home could do some of this with their kids? So, some parents are choosing homeschooling this year or sort of a hybrid. Are there different things that you can suggest for them?
Oh, definitely. There's so much we can do as parents. So I think the main thing to remember is that our kids are consumers and marketing is really geared to them at this point. So what we have to do is teach them the difference between I want this, I need this,
Mm-hmm.
and really talk to them about, yeah, you want that video game, but you don't need that video game. You did, however, grow out of your coat and you need a new coat. So, and little younger kids can understand that, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the basis. And then once you get into allowances and that sort of thing, and I know many parents have done this, this is not anything new, but make sure you're showing them I can use this money for spending on that video game. I'm going to save this money. And a lot of people, a lot of families have a donation box as well.
Mhm.
I actually saw a really cute uh, mason jar bank on online on Pinterest where you can make superhero jars and
Mm.
dedicate them to different things. So just getting your kids involved and understanding what they're doing. And my favorite, of course, is board games.
Ah,
I love
yes.
playing games with my kids, so there's tons of those out there. And another way is we want them to be informed. We want them to make the right decisions. So you want to do things like, okay, we're going to, what do you want for lunches next week? Okay, well, you know what? If we buy this, fancy prepackaged stuff, it's going to cost this. If we buy this and make it ourselves, if we buy the ingredients, so let's figure out the cost difference.
Yeah.
Because again, it comes down to marketing and consumerism.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
can do that.
It's interesting about the baseline around that marketing and consumerism and really starting at that. I didn't even think of that. I'm more like allowance, dollars and cents, budgeting money, but that really is having that conversation and an ongoing conversation with children about that piece of needs versus wants. And one thing that popped in my head as you were talking was now we're more of a cashless society at this moment due to
Yeah.
COVID. I wonder what that impact is for the kids when they see their parents just tapping cards everywhere,
Right.
pay for food and whatever,
Yeah.
gas, the coat, how that will impact, I wonder.
Definitely. And they do teach that as part of the curriculum. They teach the kids different ways of payment. And they go into, thank goodness, they go into like credit card rates
Mm.
and how that can affect things. So they are teaching them because a lot of kids, they see you tap
Mhm.
and they think there's an endless supply at the other end. And they don't understand that that money can run out. So, it's again, we're teaching them to be informed
Mhm.
and to make decisions in an informed way.
Mhm. And so, in your journey through this financial literacy search, what are some cool websites or places parents can go to access information?
Okay, well, they can always, if you do a financial literacy search for kids, you're going to find lots of helpful guidance, so to speak. But some fun websites that I found were actually Bank of Canada has three really neat games on it, geared to different ages of kids. And the Royal Bank has a, what's it called? It is Learn Money with Leo for the iPad. So there's
Okay.
lots of cute little games out there. Um, there's Edutopia,
Mhm.
which it has a lot of high school stuff, but also some younger. And there's practicalmoneyskills.com/play. So there's lots of games to access. Um, as I said, my favorite is board games, sit down, classics, Monopoly, Game of Life, Playday. I also found more. There's actually one called the Budget Game.
Oh, geez. I don't
Yeah,
think we're gonna do that one.
I like this one. Act Your Wage.
Okay.
Um, Another one that you've probably heard of that kids play is Catan, Katan. I know I've seen it at Indigo and Chapters,
Hmm.
and they recommend that because it involves trading
Mhm.
and environment and resource management. So again, taking not just like money, but the bigger picture involving money. So there's lots that kids can do and lots that families can do together.
Yeah, it's really just taking the time to break it down and consider those conversations and actively searching out those tools and resources for families and kids, knowing that this is a really important part of their journey and the conversations should be had around the dinner table, should be had, driving here or there. Whereas money's been seen, I think, historically as a taboo subject in homes
Yeah.
oftentimes. And so this is really bringing it out and having those open conversations, I think, will do kids really well, along with, what they're learning in school too.
Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting to see this next generation of kids and how they handle finances and their awareness. So I just wanted to thank you so much for being here, Sue. As always, your expertise and all the cool resources that you share with us. So thanks so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
With me here today is Linda Spencer, named the spiritual accountant by some of her clients. Linda is a CPA, CA, small business profit strategist, money relationship coach, visionary, and creator. Coming from a poor farming background and after a 2-year bombardment of life events, Linda has very intimate experience with stress, including financial stress, and its effect on her health and relationships. So, after leaving her corporate career in tax, Linda decided to put her personal experiences with stress and business startup, along with her 20 years of experience as a CPA, CA, and certification as small business and money relationship coach, to good use by helping small business owners reduce their stress and put more money in their pockets, which we love. That's great. We want everyone to enjoy their best life. Along with her innate ability for seeing the big picture and connecting the dots to what is possible, Linda helps her clients grow with soul-based business profits by transforming their relationship with money and finance and helping them create their soulfully aligned roadmap for success. She does this by sharing simple and intuitive business and financial tools, strategies, and empowering mindsets in her money, relationship, and profitability workshops, group training programs, guest speaking, and one-on-one coaching. A published poet and best-selling author, Linda enjoys writing and creating and spending time in nature on her 5-acre retreat property, I'm going to have to go there, in Glen Williams, and taking road trips with her 2 teenage boys. So lots going on here. Thank you so much for being here,
Awesome.
Linda.
Well, thank you, Cathy, for having me. Thank you so much.
That's great. I loved just reading all about your background, your experience, and your journey of how, leaving your corporate position and going on your own and really embracing all that you are and all the experiences that you have.
Absolutely. It's certainly not what I had pictured when I was 20 years old and doing my designation, that's for sure.
No, but I'm sure you've helped probably even more people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I wanted to do this show about financial literacy because November is Financial Literacy Month. And I think it's
Yes, it is.
when we talk about money. I'm sure you have a lot of clients that you work with where they have historically grown up not speaking about money.
I think that's the case for almost all of us, really. Like, I know money was not a topic in my household for sure. And everyone I talked to, same thing. People just didn't talk about money. We didn't learn about it in school, really. Our parents didn't learn about it. If you think about it, I'm in my upper 40s, so my parents were products of the Depression years. And yeah, it just was not a topic of discussion. So what we learn just by watching, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Watching, listening, hearing the behaviors of our parents and different people. I was just speaking with a teacher about financial literacy in schools and how the ministry is mandating that curriculum change because it is so important that we talk about it. And so for you, why do you think there's an emphasis on being financially literate, particularly for youth?
Particularly overall, never mind just youth, but it's being financially literate helps you really to understand how to manage your money and how to make those decisions when it comes to your money so that you can build wealth and really plan for things like retirement in your future or health problems or anything else that might come up in your life, including, like in my case, a divorce and a job loss, right? Where when you don't have the know-how, you don't even know where to start. And so that stress really piles on. So I think it's really good that they're starting to think about it in the schools now and allow those children to have the tools and the knowledge that we didn't have growing up. It'll put them in a much better position.
I think so too. And we were talking with the teacher about, more of tax calculations and economics and things like that. But you, as a money relationship coach, you deal with people's relationships with money. So different than that, different than the finance and the dollars and cents, but more of that relationship piece. Can you share with us about your work in that area?
Yeah, actually, I do both because my background is accounting and tax, right? So it's kind of innately brought over. I can't do one without the other. But it's the relationship side, which is really the psychology and the emotional and the spiritual side of money and how you relate to money that really contributes to that financial well-being. So financial literacy is just a piece of your overall financial well-being. The rest of it is the psychology, the emotional, and the mindset of it, and really setting yourself up for living your best life. And that really, you need to have a relationship with money in order for that to occur. So yeah, I bring in really it's mindset. It's a lot of mindset work and looking at money from a different perspective, looking at it as a partner in your life, as opposed to just this dollars and cents thing and exchange of value for transactions.
I like the word that you said, that partner piece.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Exactly, right? So it when I work with my clients, I usually work with them through programs and workshops, and it's taking people out of this stress and overwhelm and the I don't know how to really putting them into an empowering position and understanding that they can have a relationship with money, that they can nurture money just as they would nurture their pets or their kids and nurture other relationships, right? Like there's energy to it. There's an energy to money that there's an energy to any other relationship. It's the same thing.
Where would you suggest someone start with that relationship piece if that's a foreign concept, in terms of, okay, I'm sort of in a position of financial hardship or difficulty right now. How can I sort of step aside from that and establish a positive relationship with money, like the ground up kind of thing?
Where to start? I always start with the end in mind, or where you want to go. Okay. Right? So it's like the fastest way to let go of old habits is to create new ones. So you kind of want to know where you want to go and where you want to end up financially and where you want your life to end up. So, when we're talking money as your partner, we're talking about your finances and how you interact with your finance being in a way that supports you living your best life. But how many of us actually take the time to think about what is that? What is that life that we want to live, right? So it's really having that end goal. I wouldn't say it necessarily a goal, but that end in mind of where you want to be and how you want to live your life. And then having a really hard reality look at where you are today and looking at the gaps and kind of like, okay, what needs to change here in order for me to bridge that gap, if you will.
So when you work with people, or if you see people working on themselves, their internal confidence with money or openness or being in the flow of money versus restricting it, do you see often that clients, once they have that the money mindset and that relationship with money in a positive way, do you see the money flowing in then? Like, can you
I see more money flowing in. I see their confidence increasing. I see their energy just lighting up and they have more joy in their lives. I see their relationships improving once they start taking that interest in money, especially with couples, right? So, couples are one of the biggest things that people argue about is money. So when you start to both take an interest in that relationship with money, and you're both working on it and you're both like interacting, the relationship improves. So just think, how many divorces could we save from divorce by improving relationships with money?
Yeah, I wonder if, a couple has different money mindsets, how that comes together and that conflict.
Absolutely. Well, the interesting thing is that we all have different money personalities. So I'm sure you've heard of different personality type assessments and everything else. We have that with money too. So when you've got somebody who is a high accumulator type who wants to like just accumulate money and is very frugal and saves money and wants to and they're afraid to part with money, compared to someone who is a romantic type who really enjoys the finer things in life and wants to spend money on themselves, and those two people come together, there's definitely heads going to be butting, especially if they don't understand the dynamics of that personality.
Yeah.
So that's what I help people with as well, is really understanding their money personality and how that drives conversations about money and how they interact with it, what they spend on, how they spend, and how they make all those decisions. Even how they make money is driven by the personality.
Right, for sure. That's interesting. And it sort of brings me back to kids, preschool, early grades, elementary age. How do we as parents and caregivers work with our kids to establish that great relationship with money? Like, do you have any tips for our viewers at home and how they can engage with their kids and start them off on the right foot for this money personality? And
Right. Well, a couple of things. One is, starting with yourself too. So starting with your own relationship with money and being interested in money yourself and looking at your bank statements, looking at your situation, planning for your cash flows is a huge thing. So where I call it the old way, there's a lot of people that still use the term budgeting. Budgeting for me, it doesn't work because there's a connotation around budget that you're very, very restricted. Whereas cash flow planning allows for growth, allows for possibilities where budgets don't really allow that much room. So taking an interest yourself in that money and then getting your kids involved, like taking them to the grocery store or just having conversations of, well, they want games or they want toys, helping them to understand the value of that and like how much they would have to work in order to pay for that, or what sacrifices they would have to make in order to have that, if there's a limited amount of money to have, right? And also watching how you talk about money. I know when my kids were young, they used to want toys all the time, and my son one time asked for a toy. I said, well, you just went to the store yesterday and bought a toy. Do you think money grows on trees? He was 7 at the time, and this totally changed my perspective. He said, well, yes, Mommy, it does. I'm like, can you explain that, please? Well, apples grow on trees, and you can take the apples to the farmer's market and sell them for money. He was 7. So from that point on, this is way before I got into this work. From that point on, I really watched how I talked about money around my kids.
Interesting. Well, I want to thank you so much, Linda, for your time with us today and sharing not only the dollars and cents perspective, but also that the importance of the mindset and the relationship and the partnership with money. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Cathy.
Thank you so much to my guests today. It was really interesting to have the 2 different perspectives on financial literacy and how we can talk to our kids and our young adults on different aspects of this really important topic. It is critical that we purposely teach kids about money and what they can do to ensure they are not saddled with debt as they move into adulthood. There are so many resources between coaches, books, and the internet. We as parents have no excuse not to have those conversations. For more information and resources from today's program, visit beyondtheclassroom.ca. Thanks for watching.